Quick update, that young boy that recites the Pledge of Allegiance is about to become a driver. Yes, it's happening.
To find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation.
We did it.
Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield. It's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
You know, I was just thinking about something, and I don't let my mind wander very often, but a few minutes before airtime, and I don't want to belabor this. I'm sure later in the program we'll talk about some of the Atlantic City issues, but I was thinking about a certain press conference which was completely inappropriate, political in nature, likely a violation of the Federal Hatch Act, wrong in every way. Having innocent people have to come out because they know that the mayor of Atlantic City is a lunatic, and if they don't come out, that something bad will probably happen to them, retaliation or some kind of nonsense. So they come out to these things when the mayor basically orders them. If you send an email out to every single employee, there's an implied situation that the expectation is you've been invited, you should show. But I remember, and I didn't really have to answer to it because everybody knew the source. The source is a lunatic. But this crazy person was ranting about racism and Proud Boys, and this guy's going to be off the air and all these things. And I'm thinking, the whole time, I knew he's the guy that's under criminal investigation. And he utters these crazy things, and it's just like Joe Biden. It's just like all of them. Everything they say is a lie, and they're the ones that have the very problem that they're trying to tag you with. And it's just so transparent that that's what's going on. Then you have yesterday Joe Biden. He's openly talking about that his uncle in World War II was eaten by cannibals. I mean, look, there's no evidence of that. None at all. And that he would be even talking like that is incredible. With these people like Biden and Small and the rest of the small people, the truth is never good enough for them. They always have some other story. I think the story of Second Lieutenant Ambrose J. Finnegan Jr. is on its own an honorable wartime story of service to country. Finnegan is the brother of Joe Biden's mother. Biden said he got shot down in New Guinea. That also isn't true. There was a mechanical problem and the plane went down. And again, the truth is just never enough with these provocateurs. So Biden yesterday in Pittsburgh, because he's trying to imitate Trump, that he's around people, it's not working. Do you ever see the Jim Carrey movie when he has such a beautiful relationship? I forget the actress that plays the mom. Oh, now I remember it for some reason. I can't believe it. Maura Tierney is the mom. I couldn't tell you who the little boy is, but he's a cute little boy. And Jim Carrey has this beautiful relationship with his son. And the mom and the dad, Jim Carrey and Maura Tierney, are broken up at the time, but he has this beautiful relationship with his son. I think the movie is Liar, Liar. I can't lie! So if you've ever seen the movie, he does this thing called the mandible claw. And the son just loves it. You know, they're roughhousing it, but not too rough, and just having a great time, father and son. Well, the stepdad, if you will, I don't know that they're married, I can't remember, but if you will, the stepdad sort of type of figure tries to do the mandible claw, and he takes like one finger, and the kid is creeped out. It doesn't work. That's what Biden is. Biden's trying to keep up with Trump, and it's embarrassing. And his people can't stop it. And so it continues. And this is why you get this craziness. Trump buys people 30 milkshakes and a bunch of chicken sandwiches. Biden is somewhere, Pittsburgh or wherever in Pennsylvania, and he bought sandwiches or something for some workers. But none of it is authentic. And it doesn't play. So when Biden starts his usual Captain McBragg or Commander McBragg tripe, kind of starts mid-sentence, got shot down in New Guinea. This is about Finnegan, his uncle. Finnegan's body was never recovered. And, quote, there used to be a lot of cannibals in the area. So he's talking about that his uncle was never found because cannibals ate him. No record of that. It's just complete fiction. Kind of like Corn Pop or any other example that you want to bring up. Neil Kinnock, if you follow the pursuits of Joe Biden. Quote, we have a tradition in my family. My grandfather started. Quote, when you visit a gravesite of a family member, it's going to sound strange to you, but you say 3 Hail Marys. And that's what I was doing at the site. Referring to Trump, the presumptive GOP presidential nominee, Biden said, quote, that man doesn't deserve to have been the commander-in-chief for my son, my uncle. Well, yes, he does, Joe Biden, because the American people elected him. You're not the decider of these things. So according to the Pentagon's Defense POW MIA accounting agency, Biden's uncle, known by the family as Bossy, died on May 14, 1944, while a passenger on an Army Air Force's plane that, quote, for unknown reasons, was forced to ditch in the Pacific Ocean off of the northern coast of New Guinea. Both engines failed at low altitude, and the aircraft's nose hit the water hard. 3 men failed to emerge from the sinking wreck and were lost in the crash. The agency said that Finnegan was a passenger on the plane when it was lost. Quote, he has not been associated with any remains recovered from the area after the war and is still unaccounted for. Joe Biden also misstated his uncle's enlisted in the military, saying that he joined, quote, when D-Day occurred the next day in June 1944, when they actually joined weeks after December 7th, 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor. Everything he does is wrong, and it's disturbing. And this game that's being played, that everything is fine. The Biden speech, they State of the Union speech when he disappeared for like a week. And I got to tell you, at some point we deserve to know, do we have a president? And I'm telling you, someday it's all going to come out. Have I been right about everything that we have said in the run-up to Biden? I'm telling you I'm right about this. I just can't prove it. I know it, though. We're going to find out how deeply demented he was, and we will find out if there was any experimentation and any type of cocktails or whatever. Because you please don't try to tell me that this is normal, that something isn't going on here. Do you think it's a coincidence that every time there's either a big speech or a debate or something that he goes away? And come on. What do you think? He just sleeps? They put him in a dark room, and he sleeps for 5 days? There's something that goes on. We just have not, and it's disgusting, and it should be criminal, but we are not made privy. I don't know what it is, but it's something. We'll be back in just a little bit. Don't go away.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 is proud to introduce our new weekend talk show lineup with more opinions and more opportunities to make your voice heard. Our new shows include Eat, Drink, Smoke with Tony Katz, The Weekend with Michael Brown, Intelligent Medicine with Dr. Ronald Hoffman, The Money Pit Home Improvement Show, Expanded Financial Advice from Dave Ramsey, Ben Ferguson, and more. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 is South Jersey's talk station all weekend long.
Fox News commentary.
In her very own deplorables moment, Katie Couric takes a swipe at anti-intellectual mega supporters. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
In case you need more evidence that mainstream media journalists suffer from serious bias and obvious Trump derangement syndrome, let me give you another example. While appearing on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast, Katie Couric had the audacity to slam Trump supporters, calling our movement anti-intellectual. Weird, Katie. It's not we, the anti-intellectual mega supporters, begging to have our $100,000 student loans accrued for worthless degrees forgiven. It's not we, the anti-intellectual mega supporters who march with Queers for Palestine banners, Katie. And Katie, if not voting for the guy who is destroying our nation, cannot complete a sentence, or use the big boy stares makes us anti-intellectual rednecks, well then I guess call me a hillbilly and sign me up. Katie Couric does not understand mega, and she never will. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Wake up weekday mornings with Hurley in the Morning.
Cut the BS and let's get to the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Here's a real disgrace for you. When the House of Representatives impeaches someone, there should at least be a trial. Look, he was not going to be convicted because there's no possible way that 2/3 of the United States Senate, because the Democrats, you just have to understand, we have a very crooked Democrat Party right now. And it's at all levels, whether it's at the local level here, county, state level, national level. They're just crooked right now. And it will be written about if we have any true accounting of history. It will be written as a period in time where there was runaway lawfare, blatant intellectual dishonesty. It is just terrible. It is terrible to see this. And I knew that Chuck Schumer would do it because he's a jackass. He is a reprehensible figure in this country. My God, we have to win the majority and put them back in the minority. They cannot be allowed to continue to have power. They have abused it so badly. But they're corrupt. They have 2 independents, I guess 3 counting Kirsten Sinema, 3 independents, but they all hook, line, and sinker stick together. So they needed 51 votes. They got 51 votes, and they dismissed the impeachment charges. They didn't even, and here's the reason. Chuck Schumer is willing to take the public beating that will occur over doing this because it's better than allowing however many weeks it would take, days, weeks, it would take to have a trial in the Senate where the case before the American people could be made about what Mayorkas and in essence, Biden has done over the past 3+ years. You see how bad it is? They're so bad that they'll take this over that. It's like Joe Biden will not debate Trump. I told you this more than a year ago. Joe Biden under no circumstances. And they'll blame Trump. Oh, he's a convicted felon. No. I want to debate him, but no. We can't. He's a convicted felon. Somebody just messaged me on Facebook, and it's kind of hilarious. It says their name is someone. Hello, someone. Asking if I'm taking calls. Yes, we always take calls. We're taking calls in the 7 o'clock hour this morning at 609-407-1450. So someone, thank you for writing me. But that's basically where we're at right now. The crooked Democrats are willing to do things like this. I mean, it doesn't happen that often, even though it's happened, obviously, since Bill Clinton. It's happened a lot more. It happened with Andrew Johnson, then never again for many, many years. And now a bunch of times in short order, which I predicted once they did it with Clinton. I said, now this will be done with regularity. But you always had the trial. That process deserves that. Look, you can pick and choose and make your decision, ignore the evidence, and just find him not guilty. But I think this should not even be allowed. If someone is impeached, there should have to be a trial. Come on already. But there's not. Chuck Schumer moved to dismiss all the charges. They got their 51 votes, and then that's that. So think about how bad these people are, that they are willing to do something like this because this is better than if they actually had a trial. I don't know if you process that the way that I do, but that's extraordinary. They are willing to be this overtly corrupt because this is better than if the truth could come out in a trial. See, they know that they would exonerate Mayorkas, and then you have fools like Mitt Romney, idiots like that would vote against it. So, I mean, he probably would get, my guess is, 45 to 47 votes guilty, and that he would have 50-some votes not guilty. So there's no way that he was going to be convicted, but they are so corrupt that they don't even have the trial. But, of course, Trump's on trial. You see what is going on here. Truly outrageous. 30 minutes past the hour.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you. It's Harry Hurley. 3 stories you can follow right now on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. The Atlantic County prosecutor, Will Reynolds, is going after the bad guys. Read all about it. New Jersey Senator Vince Palestina has written a 3-page wide-ranging letter to the state NAACP about Atlantic City, and shame on the clergy and Kaleem Shabazz and all the others who rallied prematurely for the Atlantic City mayor.
Good morning. With your South Jersey weather forecast, I'm Joe Kelly. Going to be a kind of cloudy day across South Jersey. High temperature today about 57. Overnight tonight, we still see clouds with a low of 44 and mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 55. As of right now, the outlook for the weekend looks clouds and showers Saturday. High temperature about 66. Clouds on Sunday with a high of 60. That's your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. Have a great day.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG. Wake up weekday mornings with Hurley in the Morning.
This is the stuff we need to talk about.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thank you. Welcome back. 34 minutes past the hour. I double-checked during the break. So when I said that I got a message from, and it said someone, that was not correct. It came up first on my watch. It also came up on my phone, but I just wasn't looking at the phone. It came up on my watch. It actually came under a gentle lady's name, so I did write her back to say that I had misread the message. But yes, we're having open forum coming up in 30 minutes. I hope you'll check back in. 609-407-1450. And not only do I want your calls during the next hour, I need your calls during the next hour because I'm trying to break back in, at a good clip and not overuse the instrument. Because if you haven't heard, I'm dealing with, I tested positive for COVID-19 a week ago yesterday, battled that beast, and at the same time, it's right around the peak, and it kind of holds that peak for a number of weeks, well into May and even into June. Usually by about the middle of June, I'm free and clear and no more tree pollen. So I've learned to battle the tree pollen successfully. That about 30 years ago, it was unbelievable when we moved from Ventnor City to Egg Harbor Township, and my backyard was filled with oak tree, which is, I believe, it's the thing I am the most allergic to on the planet. And go figure, I went and relocated to live with it. So the first year, oh my God, I was on a nebulizer. It was terrible, but God is great, and I've learned to deal with them. But I have to tell you, if you've ever had to deal with it at the same time, dealing with COVID-19 and allergies at the same time, that should be illegal. That should be cruel and unusual, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen because it's almost unbearable, is all I can tell you. The allergies alone are like having the flu, and I just come in every day and I don't tell you. It's just terrible. But you throw the COVID-19 on top of the allergies, and it is a cocktail that, mercy, please. This portion of the Hurley in the Morning program, very pleased to report, brought to us in part by my friends at Ambient Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning Professionals. They would like you to get your air conditioning system checked right now. That's right now. Not when you're sweaty and miserable. The sooner you discover a problem, and I talked to a guest listener yesterday who called yesterday to sign up, the easier the repairs tend to be when you stay on top of things. It's like your car, for example. You get the regular tune-ups and the oil change and change the air filter and do the basic things. Things seem to go better. Ambient Comfort's tune-up special is really amazing that they've been able to keep that same affordable price because everything has gone up just extraordinarily high. This remains at $59 for new customers, and it's well worth it. We do it every year. Their certified technicians will perform a thorough precision tune-up on your system to make sure it's safe and running at maximum efficiency, prepared to get you through the summer heat, regardless of who originally installed your system. When comfort matters, choose who I choose. Choose Ambient Comfort. On the web at ambientcomfortnj.com. That's AmbientComfortNJ.com, or you can call 609-568-0955. I'll repeat, 609-568-0955 for your $59 air conditioning tune-up for new customers. Tell Ambient Comfort that Harry Hurley sent you. One other thing on this whole impeachment matter, then I want to move on because we have a lot to cover. Incidentally, just to give you an idea of what's happening this morning, wide open forum all next hour. I hope you just crush the 609-407-1450 phone line, 609-407-1450 phone lines. 8 o'clock hour, John Zarek. 9 o'clock hour, looking forward to Kirk Conover on a special day and time. So Senator Langford, good guy, by the way, he said something that is really right on point. He said that it will be a terrible precedent for the Democrat-controlled Senate to refuse to hold a trial on the House articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. That's Senator James Langford. Quote, the House has done an impeachment. Quote, that means it should come for a trial in the Senate. However, Schmuck Schumer said he's not going to hold a trial. Quote, they have the votes to be able to vote it down, and they did, and to say that we're going to ignore the House and the articles of impeachment. There have been 21 impeachments in the history of our country, and not a single one has ever been tabled or dismissed. So this is a very significant event if he chooses to do that, and he did. He did choose to do that. So you can see all norms, whether it is our judicial system, whether it is our Department of Justice, whether it's any of the other apparatus that they have weaponized, the Democrats are tearing down. No, let me correct that. They're burning down our country. That's what they're doing. Quote, of all the conversations that I've had, all of them have said that they just want to dismiss this, to set it aside, not actually engage on this. They just want it to go away. They don't want to talk about border security. Quote, that's why I work so hard across the aisle to say I think this is a national security issue that we've got to resolve. To just ignore the 5,800 people yesterday that illegally crossed our border, and to be able to do so day after day, these massive numbers of people in the thousands. No, it's in Mr. Langford, Senator Langford, it's in the millions. It's not in the thousands. For us to be able to just reject that and to say that this is not a big deal is wrong. It is a national security threat. Well, I agree with all of it. I also agree with this. Elon Musk said, quote, letting the flood of unvetted people into the United States is insane. That's what I've said. That's my quote. I've used that word. Think about this. I think sometimes you have to break it down and look at this for what it is. Musk said yesterday on X, formerly Twitter, quote, more than the population of 36 states in just over 3 years. Quote, I am very much in favor of legal immigration, being an immigrant myself. But allowing a flood of millions of unvetted people to enter the United States illegally is insane. Quote, over 1,000 of them took over New York City, City Hall Park here to protest being sent to shelters, and they are demanding permanent housing, including, they want all of these services. It's incredible. And they demand them. So Musk is right on. And by the way, what a price he is paying. You look at Tesla, because you can imagine, I guarantee you, the liberal whacks don't buy Teslas anymore, and they did. His stock is getting absolutely pummeled. I think it's down like 40-some%. And you got to give this guy credit. Now, look, no matter what happens, he's so rich. It's just a matter of, all right, his punishment is he's not the richest person in the world anymore because Jeff Bezos now is because Musk has lost some of his net worth because he's getting punished for not being biased, but for being fair. Think about that. Democrats don't want things to be fair. Everything has to be to their advantage. Like the way the Bidens get treated in court versus the way Trump gets treated. Everything has to be in their favor. But no question about it, Elon Musk could have, he's under federal criminal investigation right now. I mean, they're raining hell on him. And I'll tell you, he holds up. Very much like Trump, he holds up very well. He knows what's going on. But he could have such the life of Riley, such a cushy, easy go of it. You got to get, I do. I say you got to. You don't have to, but I will. I have to give him credit for what he's done. Making Twitter, and I'm not a fan of Twitter. I'm more of a fan of it now. But I'm on there. I don't use it. I evidently have several thousand followers, and I should do better. I get messages. I'll be honest with you, I don't return them. I am active on Facebook, and if you message me there, you will typically hear back from me. But I don't participate on Twitter. I was so disgusted with what the Democrats did, Dorsey and the rest of them, with Twitter, that I just don't participate on that forum. But Elon Musk overpaid for it, paid a fortune, and it's done nothing but cost him time, money, aggravation, criminal investigation, devaluation of his company. I mean, it's a shame. But this is the game they play. Biden was laughing about Trump yesterday being in court. These are scumbags. These are really bad people. And that's why we have to win on November 5th. We have to win. We have to look at this as a moral imperative that in order to save our country, we have to win on November 5th. I repeat, we have to win on November 5th.
Hurley in the morning.
We need proper representation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
It's the topics that matter to me.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 52 minutes past the hour. Let me share with you, I've told you this before, and I just enjoy it so much. Before I sign on each morning, I've already published one article. We did so this morning. And then I enter, I don't know how to call it. I don't meditate necessarily, but I just enter my own world. I try to quiet things down, typically close my eyes for whatever reason. I think it's really just the challenges of our times. I don't fall asleep typically, although occasionally I do. I always set an alarm just to make sure I don't. It would be terrible to be here 3 hours early and oversleep. So I'll close my eyes, and before that, I select. And I I can't explain it. I don't know really in advance, but right before I begin this 30 minutes, sometimes it's 45 minutes. If I'm really efficient that day, it can be even an hour, which it was today. I will pick certain music that I love. And this morning, I selected, and the album is just wonderful. Sometimes I pick it song by song. Today, I just picked an entire album, David Gates and Bread. And it was so pleasant, so relaxing. Why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing it up because we are living in such challenging times, stressful times, dishonest times. I mean, outrageous times. Prices, have you noticed? Gasoline is up 30 cents in a couple of days, 10 more cents yesterday a gallon. A regular gallon of gasoline is over $3.65. A gallon of super unleaded is now $4.29.9 per gallon. Electricity is going to be up almost 30% this summer. This Biden era, I just never thought we'd see anything like Jimmy Carter ever again. It's just history repeating itself. It is awful. And we have the same dishonest media. They're even worse now. And more of them. Lying about it all. I mean, I'm listening to these Democrat media people say we have the greatest economy in the world. And, I mean, shut up. You liar. So what I'm saying is, whenever you can, this is why, and we're going to do it tomorrow. We've got to do it. 8 o'clock hour, we're going to rip and tear on anything that's going on in Atlantic City or anywhere else. 9 o'clock hour tomorrow, we're going to do our official mental health break. We've got to do it. And I'm urging you, I mean, you do what you want. You know, that's the beauty of this country. We have free will. But I'm telling you, it works for me. Because I am sometimes wound up tight with so much on my mind. So many people bring me so many problems that I try to help with. And if I can just turn it down a little bit, I don't turn the lights out. Lights are on, but I sit in a very comfortable chair and I close my eyes and I just listen to things that are very pleasant to my ear. And David Gates and Bread, they're one of them. I mean, the tonal quality, the resolution, the music, the lyrics, the storylines of the songs. I love it. And I came out at about, my alarm was set for 5:55. I decided about 5:50, I said, I'm ready. This is great. And then I always give myself another 10 to 15 minutes before we sign on because there's a number of things that I do. I pick 3 stories that I tell you about every half hour on the hour. So I pick those and I get my thoughts together. I get in my head the live reads that I'm going to be doing, whether it's Ambient Comfort or later this morning, Congress Hall or Batteries Plus coming up later in the program. And I get all my thoughts together about what I'm going to say about them. And then all of a sudden, the news is on. Noah's doing the Pledge of Allegiance. And away we go. So it's just my own free advice because there's a lot that we can't control. And the things we can't control, we have to learn to deal with. We have to learn that which we have an ability to have an impact And there are external forces and external things that we have no control of whatsoever. And you just can't let that stuff just eat you up. I'm a big fan of let's play the game on the field that we're allowed. If they don't let us play, then don't mope, oh, they won't let me play. Play on the field where you're allowed to play. And I just find that period in time before I sign on is one of my favorite times of the day. I just love it. And it puts me in a really good frame of mind. It relaxes me. It gives me clarity. Music, and people look at things differently, but I look at music as a very powerful thing that can bring people together. I think about 10,000 of us in the Mohegan Sun Arena for the finale of Tony Orlando. When I tell you there was not a bad vibe in that arena, it was amazing. And I could say the same thing the week before or 6 days before in the Superstar Theater at Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City with Tony Orlando. Just consider it. We'll be back. Your calls are next.
WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Hey, thanks. On the same day that Talkers Magazine released the list of for 2024 of the 100 most important talk radio hosts in America, also known as the Heavy 100, that was the day that we tested positive for COVID-19. And I knew I had it before I tested positive 2 years ago when we had it. I mean, there's just something different about that you just know your body is not feeling right at all. So I can't say I didn't get to enjoy it, but it was certainly muted because I felt absolutely terrible. But it was wonderful to get the news and also to move from 29 up to 25 was an absolute delight. And we're so grateful to Talkers Magazine, to Michael Harrison, to the selection committee at Talkers Magazine, because there's only room for 100. And this is a very big country, and there are a lot of people to choose from. And it is just something that it still doesn't, some people maybe be very, arrogant about it or self-absorbed about it. It feels real to me because I feel that we've earned it, but it is still a bit surreal because there's only 100 slots and they fill up very quickly. And when you think about the number that are just automatics, Sean Hannity and Brian Kilmeade and Mark Levin and Dave Ramsey and, the number that is actually available, if this isn't quite accurate, but it sort of kind of is, the number is actually smaller than 100 because there's a certain number that just are automatic. And the rest, you just have to, hope you get it. But it was a long-time dream of mine. This was 10 years in the making, from making the list at number 100 and moving all the way from the fourth page to the first page on the list, 1 to 25. So we're barely on the first page, but we are on the first page. And pretty proud of that. And I'm grateful to you for making it possible because it is a 100% total team effort. So all the way back a decade ago in 2015, we entered the list at number 100, barely there. Then we made the biggest jump in the history until Brian Kilmeade, the biggest jump in Talkers magazine history when we went from 100 to 70. Then we went to 60, 57, 51, 47, 37. That was a good year. 35, 29. That was huge. And 25. So thank you. And thank you to Talkers. 609-407-1415 open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Harry. Thanks for taking my call this morning.
My pleasure.
Well, I was actually watching Fox 29 this morning, and I saw the footage of Marty Smalls, the Atlantic City mayor, getting in court, and I thought I heard your voice, you kind of asking him if he was going to comment on this family matter, but he didn't really say anything, and I was just wondering, it's such a travesty for this area. Where do you think we go from here?
Well, here's where we go from here. Obviously, because I won't speak for you, but I can just tell you sound like a very fair-minded, great person. So I'm sure you will buy in with me that the presumption of innocence is still very important in our country. I know the other side, hate that we have sides now, but the other side doesn't believe in that. When you have people like Nancy Pelosi say President Trump deserves his day in court in order to prove his innocence. I mean, these are sick people. So I want to preserve, because it's the bedrock of our whole system, is that you're innocent unless you're proven guilty. But no doubt about it, the charges are abominable. They are deeply disturbing at a level that, if they are true, Small, his wife Laquetta, and the principal of the high school should never have a position of public trust ever again. The two that are in education should have their teaching certificates, principal certificates at all forfeited permanently, not able to ever participate. I believe that, and again, it's alleged, but abusing a child is in the pecking order of lowest order. It is one of the worst offenses. Beating a child allegedly unconscious and all the other things that are outlined, it is disgraceful. We'll see what happens in terms of disposition. But if they are guilty of it, then we need, and we'll be rid of them.
What do you think will happen when that power, like the change? It seems like there will be a change of power after that, and hopefully we can get a new regime in there. And
I'm telling you, you need to call more often. You are like a laser beam on everything that's important. First of all, protecting children, and I wrote about it this morning in a piece about the prosecutor Will Reynolds. I would ask everybody, please go to the app or the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 website and read the article and my comments, and also the prosecutor's comments within the article that I wrote about this. This is so important, what you just said, and this is my response to that. I believe we are going to have regime change. It's absolutely necessary. Marty Small is a disaster as mayor of Atlantic City, an absolute disaster, abject failure. The town is not safe. The town is getting a very bad reputation, and we cannot have that. Here would be my wish. I'd like to see Lorenzo Langford step back up, but just for a short period. He's done his service, but he could immediately go in there. He's unbought, he's unbossed, he's incorruptible, and he could go right in there and steady the ship. There are other people. First Lady Ninel Langford would be a great mayor of Atlantic City. George Tibbett would be a great mayor of Atlantic City. One of the fast fixes that could be done, and I'm a big advocate of this as well, would be for Don Guardian to understand that being one of 80 is not better than being one of one, and for Don Guardian to come back as mayor of Atlantic City. He was the best ambassador for the city. He could immediately go in there and right the ship. Council needs to change. Sporty Randolph, who I've known for a lifetime, unfortunately, because he saddled up with Marty Small, he's destroyed his reputation. Council is only one vote away from flipping to a completely different philosophy of governance. So those are a few of my thoughts.
Yeah, what recommendations would you have for, just people in this area who are, feel like I feel like I want to help, but I just don't know how.
Well, let me give you. Okay, so stay with me. Here's what I recommend to you and to everyone that's listening, because I know, having done this for 32 years, that for a long period of time, and I take the calls and I get the emails and the social media things where, oh, please, you got to keep me anonymous. I'm so afraid. I'm so afraid. Everybody's afraid. So the bad people get to not only continue, but amass power and continue to crush the good people. So everybody out there, I understand, and I've been hearing it over the past several days, that there are more children that have been abused. Everybody, and I'm not saying nobody should be coming up and making stuff up, but there are a lot of people that have been afraid because of the retaliation and things that happen to speak up. Now is the time. If it's a crime, and it's no disrespect to the Atlantic City Police Department, they're terrific, but while Small is the director of public safety, you can't deal with that level. Anybody that suspects crimes or has information about the commission of a crime, go to the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office. If you're afraid of that, go to Crime Stoppers anonymously. All of these things have to be reported. We have to inundate them with the truth and make sure that they are gone, and then a new broom sweeps clean.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great advice, and I just hope, that Atlantic City can really turn around, because I know it looks bad to the whole area.
Well, it looks bad to the whole country. Imagine if your job was to sell Atlantic City as a world-class destination resort that 28 million people come to every year. It's really tough right now when people are getting shot, stabbed. The fifth mayor in 42 years is criminally charged. It's a disaster. Here's another thing that I would put out right now, because all the folks are getting ready right now and going to school. All of you teachers, all of you certified staff members, all of you support staff members, don't be afraid any longer. And I'm ashamed of Tim Mancuso. I love him. We've grown up together, as kids, and he had courage as a councilman. He's been spineless as the president of the Atlantic City Education Association, and that's only because he doesn't want the grief. He's at the end of his career. He's going to be retiring in a year or two, maybe sooner. And he just doesn't want the grief from, Marty and Laquetta Small. So he has acquiesced to them. And shame on you, Tim, if you're listening. But it's time for you to step up as well. Every single person within the Atlantic City Public School System that has been picked on, put down, retaliated against, and you haven't had the support of your union or anyone else, now is your time to come forward. I urge every single wronged person to no longer be afraid of retaliation. They're afraid right now. They're on the run right now.
Yeah, it's very concerning. It just, because you want to feel like, you're safe in your community, and, that like our public officials that we elect, or, that I elected, but that are in office, that they really are looking out for the best interest. But I don't feel like that.
Whoa. Because they're not. This has been a Marty Small friends and family employment agency for the past couple of years. Look at every board. Look at all these jobs. Look at this offenders program that they did. I mean, it is a disaster what they've been doing. But what they've been doing is creating very high-paid jobs for friends and family. The running joke in Atlantic City right now is they've run out of friends and family, so they're hiring ex-wives now. I mean, it's that bad. And literally that's true, by the way, in one case. In many cases, they hire unqualified people. So all of this has to be fixed. And it looks like the vehicle to that will be the criminal charges that have been brought forward. But even without those charges, everything that I've mentioned is as bad as it has been even without that. That's just on top of it all.
Yeah, it was really shocking, and it was just making me think about this whole area that we just need to get some people in office that.
Well, do me a favor. Go to my article on our app or on the website that I wrote about Senator Palestina, and read the article that I wrote about him communicating with the president of the New Jersey State NAACP. And he brings up very logically, very intellectually, honestly, all of these different problems that have to be solved in Atlantic City. It's all right there. Check it out.
Okay. I'll read that. And, so what would you, do you think, how would you, say someone, wanted to get involved in politics because, they're watching this, happen. I feel like it's not even possible because of all the corruption.
Well, but it is possible now. It wasn't possible before because it was completely corrupt. I mean, it's a Democrat town. They controlled who would get the favorable ballot position. Marty Small never won. He lost every election when he ran off the regular Democrat endorsed column. When he got that finally, he won. Not by much, but he won. So you can get involved. There are a lot of ways to get involved. There's a movement right now about opposing the expansion of legal marijuana into areas that are very, populated by families and children. There's ways to get involved. If you ever wanted to take a look at the form of the government in Atlantic City, the size of the government, the composition, the format of the government, there's a lot of ways. Or, in fact, running for office. I believe we're going to see new people getting involved, and that we will see new people getting elected.
Yeah, I just hope we can, get this democratic machine out of and then get some actual qualified people in there.
Well, I agree, and I think we can, and if not now, when? And with that, I'm so late for the break, I've got to go. Call me again. I loved your call. There's something very kind and just innocent about your voice and your presentation. Good to talk to you. Have a great day. Thanks for calling. Call me again. 22 minutes past the hour. More of your calls right after this. I am Hurley in the Morning.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
Get us someone in the White House that's actually going to do something.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
This is not an ordinary trial. This taxpayer-funded, media-promoted smear campaign against Trump, where he has a gag order and the threat of jail if he opens his mouth, and the other people that are involved in this case have no such thing. You got a prosecutor that ran on getting Trump, just like the AG in New York did. The judge donates to Biden. You can't make this up. The jury pool comprised of Americans living in the deepest of blue cities, where only 12% of the electorate voted for Donald Trump. It's a misdemeanor document labeling allegation. It dates back 8 years, well past the statute of limitations. And they mysteriously found a way to bring it back and turn it into a felony. But none of this matters.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
All right, winter's officially left the building, so why not spring forward and freshen up your home with new premium window treatments from our friends at Blinds.com. Now, Blinds.com, they invented a better way to shop for stylish blinds and shades and shutters. even motorized options for your patio. Everything is 100% online. That means you never have to deal with an overpriced showroom or pushy commission salespeople in your home. You can do the measuring and installation yourself or simply let Blinds.com and their pros handle it. Now, you can have multiple window coverings installed. And with Blinds.com, you always get free professional design experts. They will help you pick the perfect selection for you for free. They even send samples for free directly to you. Blinds.com's free shipping and, of course, the 100% satisfaction guarantee. No questions asked. Save up to 40% when you shop at Blinds.com for a limited time. Up to 40% off. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
It's well-balanced conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thanks for waking up early in the morning. 29 minutes past the hour. Thanks for picking us. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open for the remainder of this hour. John Zarek will join us at 8. Kirk Conover in today's 9 o'clock hour. Let's make our open forum count. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hello. One thing I really don't understand is the preferential treatment given to Marty Small. I mean, if this had been the average Joe Rockhead accused of the same crime, he wouldn't be in the mayor's office. He would be in the county lockup.
Well, here's the thing. I've heard that from a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you my take on this. And I think I'm right, but I can't prove that I'm right because it's not a question that I have posed to the Atlanta County prosecutor. But I've said this on air a day or two ago, and I've written about it in the past 2 or 3 days. I believe the Atlanta County prosecutor's office purposely charged them by summons and did not perp walk the two Smalls on purpose. Not that they cowered to Small because he's a punk. But they decided, I believe, just in the interest of the public, to not create a spectacle. Because guess what? They're still charged with all these charges. And they're hideous charges. So whether you do it by summons or you do it by presenting them to a grand jury, or you purposely do some visible thing of hauling them in, they wouldn't be in jail. They would be able to post, so they would be out. He, being an elected official, he has a lot of pressure to resign and do different things. He doesn't have to unless he's convicted. There is immense pressure, and it's shocking, but it shouldn't be. Let me take that back. It should be shocking. Laquetta Small immediately should have been suspended. Believe it or not, she's not, to my knowledge, she is still not suspended, which is shocking. Should be shocking. It should just challenge us to our core, because you're talking about child abuse charges of a superintendent. So it's just, it's hideous, all of it. But I believe that they did it exactly as they did it on purpose. In case you don't know this, and if you do, I'll just remind everyone else, kind sir, that Marty knew he was under criminal investigation. He did a preemptive campaign of posting stuff, having press conferences, calling the prosecutor a racist, calling Senator Palestina names, calling me a Proud Boy, card-carrying Proud Boy, Donald Trump Proud Boy, calling Tibbet a Proud Boy racist. So he knew he was under criminal investigation at the county level. And so he went on a preemptive campaign, the rally and all of that. I think that, in my opinion, the prosecutor processed everything that was going on in the interest of the public and just took the position, we don't have to be cowboys and hot dog the thing up and do a perp walk and have cameras, filming the whole thing. They could have done that, could have easily done that, but they didn't. And even though I don't think the other side would ever give nearly the consideration that they've been given, I agree with the way that the Atlanta County prosecutor has handled this.
So you really think the prosecutor doesn't want any bad publicity based on?
Here's what I think. I'll tell you what I think. You don't even have to speculate. I'll tell you. The prosecutor has done such a good job with this case that he doesn't want to have any extraneous type of distractionary items for someone to call into question. It's like a Joe Friday, just the facts, ma'am. Video evidence, audio evidence, other documented evidence. This, I believe, will be self-evident what happened here. And I think they took on purpose any of that other stuff, like Roger Stone with the amphibious assault on his home and jackbooted thugs and, all this stuff going on. They didn't do any of that. So I think it's the right way to go. I believe that they're going to be able to put on a very, very strong case, and we'll see what happens.
So it's a stealth approach. That's good.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people are disappointed, though, because they don't like the arrogance of this mayor. They don't like the things he does. They don't like the things that he says. They don't like that he blames everything, all his problems on people being racist and all these other things that he does, so that when they have probable cause to do a search, which they did, and they served 5 search warrants and did the raid on the home, and when they have the probable cause to bring the criminal charges that they did, a lot of people wanted them to be perp walked. But I think that the prosecutor made the absolute right call to tamp all that down and to do it exactly the way that he did it, by the book, none of that other stuff. And I think it keeps the focus. And the real important thing is it's a real hallmark of Will Reynolds from the very beginning of his tenure as prosecutor, and that is policies that protect children. This is about protecting abused children. So the need for a perp walk just to appease, people that just would get off on that kind of thing, I didn't need it. I didn't want it. I think they're doing it right.
Okay. Also, this raid on this house, do you really think that perhaps they were also looking for signs of the abuse itself, like, for example, bits of hair in the broom?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about any of that. I know that they had 5 search warrants approved and that they executed them. And always remember, too, when you go at something like that, maybe you find other things, too. And then you have to go back and get other approvals. Hey, look, upon doing this, look what else we found, and so on and so forth. The way they went about that, Small also criticized, but they did all that right by the book. I know they recovered, because Ed Jacobs, Marty Small's criminal defense attorney, has acknowledged this, several cell phones, laptops, an iPad. I believe there's other evidence that they have that was outside of the Small home that also is going to be very material. And I have the 18-page charging documents, so I see a lot of things in there that have nothing to do with what they found at the Small home. There are others that have evidence as well. So they, it's my understanding that they have a treasure trove of evidence.
Okay, so I guess we just have to wait and see how the trial plays out.
And you're going to wait for a while. Ed Jacobs is the master of what I call long ball. This case could take 2 years to resolve.
That's quite a lot.
I know. That's why the superintendent has to be suspended, and then the citizens of Atlantic City need to elect a new mayor, and all of that will be taking place before this case is even resolved. Got to run to the break. Have a great day. More of your calls coming up right after this.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
It's 37 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program. 3 stories that you can follow right now on our WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. The Atlantic County Prosecutor Will Reynolds is going after the bad guys. Read my take. It's up. New Jersey Senator Vince Palestina has written a comprehensive 3-page letter to the state NAACP president about Atlantic City, and shame on the clergy, shame on Kaleem Shabazz.
Good morning, South Jersey. Here's your weather. Cloudy sky today with a high temperature about 57. Tonight, more clouds with a low of 44. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high of 55. As of right now, the weekend looks, well, cloudy. A chance of morning showers Saturday with a high temperature of 66. And for Sunday, clouds with a high temperature of 60. If you're a fan of clouds, this is your Super Bowl. That's your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. Have a great day.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
It's a woke society, and I'm fed up with it.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 44 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Hope you'll check in. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry. It's my fourth call in 32 years.
Wow. Thank you. That means I'm due for another call in the year 2038. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That's great.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I was wondering, a couple of weeks ago, you had someone they were talking about the author that gave for Biden, that he was doing a book, and he came up with, he was paid $8 million to do that book.
Yes.
Did anybody ever check on, did he pay taxes on that $8 million?
Well, I don't remember the tax year. I can tell you that the Bidens paid their taxes and they declared $600 and some $1,000. It was the president's salary. And then First Lady Jill is a professor somewhere, and she had income in around the $100,000 range. I think it was like $89,000 or something like that. So they definitely did not declare $8 million in tax year 2023. That I can promise you.
So if anybody could check into that, he probably has tax evasion too.
I don't know about that because if you notice the track record of Joe Biden, they're very slippery, politically dirty people. So they have things they call loans, even though there's no loan documents and there's no interest. They always have a scam to explain something away. If you got an advance, for example, $8 million advance on a book, very hard to not report that. My opinion would be that I think this family has stolen a lot of money. Again, it's my opinion. I'm not citing a fact. I think they have stolen a lot of money and multiple people within the family. And obviously we know Hunter Biden is a serial tax evader. They let a lot of them expire on purpose, and he'll be held accountable, it appears, perhaps to some of them that he didn't pay. But they're pretty good, though, when it comes to something that's unambiguous, like if you make a book deal and it's publicized, and if it's publicized, hey, the former Vice President Joe Biden is penning a book, and he's getting an $8 million advance from, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. So you're pretty locked in. It's like the first Survivor winner didn't pay his taxes. Well, they banged him and he went to jail. I would say almost that I don't even have to look that up, that the obvious stuff he declares.
Second question. They used to have eel fishing here. People part-time used to go out to the streams here, the rivers, and collect these eels and sell them to Japan. And they were getting $350 a pound. And all of a sudden people were making a lot of money. And all of a sudden they stopped. They just said, nope, you can't do that anymore. Did anybody look into that? I mean, you can go down to Obsequon Creek right here and put your nets out and everything and collect these little tiny baby eels. And they were paying them at the airports $350 a pound.
I never heard that, but I will tell you, and I've written a lot about this as well as spoken a lot about it. We have a tremendous fishing industry here in the Atlantic City area. Lobsters off the shore of Atlantic City. Kirk Conover could tell you about this today in the 9 o'clock hour. The clams, and he was a clammer. See if you knew this. Did you know the clams right here from Atlantic City Progresso, that's the clams that they use in their soups. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm not surprised at all. I didn't know it, but I'm not surprised at all to hear you say about the eels. I just had never heard that before. And if it happened, I don't know why it was stopped. I don't know if it's if they were being over harvested or, whatever the reason would be. But I had never heard about the eels until you just brought it up.
See, this was for the little people that they used to make extra money on.
Yeah, good money.
And then my son-in-law worked with a guy, and he actually went out part-time at night, and in 2 months, he was able to buy a brand-new pickup truck.
Beautiful. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. It's such a shame that so many things that people were able to do have been taken away from them for no good reason. That's one of them.
Well, Kirk Conover, he should know about this if he's into fishing.
Well, I'll bet you he does. I just didn't. Kirk was a clammer, but he has tremendous knowledge about the industry. So I'm sure he knows about this.
Ask him about that because that was a big thing around here. People were making extra money, and all of a sudden they just stopped it.
Yeah. All right, let me do this. I've got to get our final break in. Loved your call. Love talking about these kinds of historical things. And Kirk will be here in about an hour and 15 minutes, and we'll see if he knows anything about that as well. But it sounds to me like if it was able to be done, somebody obviously took a look at it and felt that it was just either being overfished or for some other reason stopped that which people used to be able to do freely. I'm glad you called. Call me again sometime. When we come back after the break, you will join the program, which makes me very happy.
Sean Hannity.
Look at the price of everything. Eggs, what you were paying in 2020, you're almost paying double. If you like frozen pizza, even that's a massive percentage. Butter and potato chips and cereal and milk, just the basics. What you could buy 4 years ago versus what you can buy today is 36% less. It's unreal.
Sean Hannity on South Jersey's talk station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. For complete contest rules, visit WPGTalkRadio.com. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
I listen every morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you for that. And to the last gentleman caller, guest listener Kevin wrote me about the eels, and he wrote, those eels are called glass eels or glass ivers. They're baby eels, and they're almost clear like glass. And the guy is right. They're very, very expensive, and people have gotten caught netting them and have gotten in some serious trouble. Kevin, thank you for the value-added commentary there. Back to your call, 609-407-1450. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. Hi there.
Hello, I'm shedding some more light on the eels.
Oh, good.
In the late 80s through the early 90s, that's when it became popular to go fish for them. And the particular water that they used to use was the tide water on Cape May Courthouse Road. That's between Route 9 and Route 47. And these guys, the pickup truck was at the Acme supermarket there in Courthouse. So every morning when I would get up to go to work, and I'd be leaving my house at 5 o'clock, there were a plethora of fishermen on those banks. And guess what? They all made out very well until the state found out that these fellows were making some money. And so what did they do?
They regulated it, correct?
They made a license. It was $1,000 to get a license to harvest these things.
There you go.
But just before that, there was some activity there where guys were shooting each other for their favorite spots. But it was it didn't last that long. But like you said, it is glass eels, and the Japanese, I guess, are the ones that really like that particular food. All right, that's all I wanted to share. Have a good day, and I'm glad you're back. I missed you. I had to go listen to Jerry for those few days.
Well, thank you for your comment. Take care.
Bye.
Talk to you. See ya. Well, let's shut the phone lines down. We only have 2 minutes before the top of the hour. John Zarek will join us right after our fastidious halftime break. and then Kirk Conover on a special day and time. We'll see if Kirk is prepared to talk about the eels. I know the man can talk about clams because he was a very accomplished clammer. Hard work, too, if you've ever done it. Very, very hard work. President Trump, if you didn't hear, I really love what President Trump is doing. Look, you know, you talk about lemons and making lemonade out of lemons. He can't control the lunatic fringe crazies that have gotten away with these fake criminal charges and all these things. So then all you can do is make the best of it. For example, the other day, not yesterday because court was not in session on Wednesday, but on Tuesday, President Trump went to the bodega. And you know the bodega, the famous case where Fat Bragg criminally charged and put in Rikers Island. The bodega guy that was assaulted by a heinous career criminal. This is the country we're living in right now. This is how sick it is. Thank God the hue and cry of the American people and the video. This guy would have been railroaded and convicted. You know, he left the country. He got the hell out of here. He's not here anymore, that bodega owner and worker. Guy just making an honest living. Trouble came to him through no fault of his own. He defended himself, and Fat Bragg tried to criminally prosecute the victim. This is the country we live in. But what Trump is doing, my God, it was chanting 4 more years, and he's bringing the campaign where and when he can. That's all you can do. And he's doing it very well to the extent that Joe Biden is trying to copy, and it's not going very well for him. He attempted to buy sandwiches for a group yesterday. It just doesn't have the panache. It doesn't have the authenticity. It just isn't working. But we're working, and we'll be right back. It's halftime on the Hurley in the Morning program. John Zarek joins the program next.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
Have a great day.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. 6 minutes past the hour. Thrilled to report John Zarek is here. This is Smart Law with John Zarek, sponsored by the law offices of John Zarek, who happen to be the exclusive criminal defense attorneys for the Hurley in the Morning program. They have offices all over the place, it seems. One main number that you can call. They have a lot of phone numbers, but this number is, I think, a good place to start. 609-641-2266 on the web. And that's 609-641-2266 because I think I slurred it on my first attempt. 609-641-2266 on the web at johnzarek.com. Mr. Zarek, I'm back.
Wow. I'm glad.
They took me down for a week, but I'm back.
Yeah,
whoever they are.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Yeah. They're trying to run you down, but they can't do it. They can't do it, Harry.
It's good to be with you, my friend. A lot going on, obviously locally. There's a lot going on nationally. I have to say, I'm so troubled by this prosecutor Alvin Bragg trial that there would be in America lawfare at such a level that they would take our great system and pervert it in this manner. A charge that doesn't even exist by any normal, rational thought, expired at the misdemeanor level 6 years ago, and this guy somehow bootstraps it to a federal thing. They still haven't said how can you be in jury selection and President Trump still doesn't know the charge that he's facing? How is this allowed, John?
Yeah, it's when you have immoral people, when you have greedy people, when you have people that operate just like any other fascist system in the world, the communists used to do it. Putin does it. The Ayatollah does it.
Kim Jong-un does it.
Yeah. When you have people everything's for the people. All the demonstrations are for the people, for freedom, anti-racism, anti-sexism, anti-anything, pro-anything that is not normal, if it's not, their idea is if you're the weaker party, the weaker person, the weaker group, the smaller group, you're automatically virtuous. You are virtuous.
Yeah.
And it's not so.
No.
It's not so. Sometimes the underdog, the weaker party, the smaller party, the less numerous party is in fact virtuous. And sometimes they're not. I'll tell you, here's an example. This is real virtue. I'm a member of the NAACP. Now, their official positions, and a lot of my Republican friends chide me on this, I guess you'd say, or bust on me for this. Why would you be part of an organization that, most of their official positions are opposite of my official positions? And I'm a member because in the 60s, 50s, 60s, the days of the Freedom Riders, when you can't go to a restaurant because you're black, when you can't go to stay in a hotel because you're black, when you can't ride in certain spots on a bus, because you're black, that's wrong.
Yes.
You don't need a sociology professor to tell you that that's wrong.
Yes.
We know that's wrong.
Yeah. And we condemn it.
And we condemn it. And, those people, the reason I'm a member of the NAACP is because, and have volunteered for legal things from time to time, as has Chris Brown. He's also a member for that reason. The reason I'm a member is because those people, who are members and still members today, got on buses, and they had the intelligence. They knew they were going to get firebombed. They knew they were going to get beaten. They knew they were going to get dog sicked on them. They knew they were going to be killed.
Yeah.
Some are going to be killed.
Fire hoses.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, fire hoses is the least of it, right? Yeah. So, and I still have not lost the sense of obligation to support the people that did that. Mm-hmm. So I tell people when the last Freedom Rider dies, probably after I die, I guess, but when the last Freedom Rider dies, then maybe I'll reconsider my membership. Not reconsider the fight against discrimination and against harming, men, women, and children because of the color of their skin or because of them standing up for their rights. But, I don't think, that's my way of making a commitment to that cause. A demonstrable way to make the commitment.
Cause is just.
But what we're seeing here is really an abomination.
It's just terrible.
And it harms the civil rights movement.
Do you know that
terribly,
John? During the jury selection, this Mershon was ready to let a juror be seated. Also, I don't understand why they only get 10 preemptory challenges. Maybe it could just be that's the law in New York. But I mean, I think
that's the law.
So that's just terrible. So you're really limited in terms of your challenges. he's ready to let a juror go on. He's already let people go on that have adverse positions to Trump on the jury. This one, he finally felt that it was a bridge too far when they actually had on their social media. Thank God the Trump team is doing quick work, and we're in an era now where you can do things you used to not be able to do, and that's pull up people's stupidness that they write, and it's all there to see. Otherwise, they could just lie and say, "Oh, I could be objective. Oh no, I don't have any problem." So he finally, after somebody said on their social media that Trump should be in jail, that he said, "You're excused." This is how bad this is, John.
Sure.
This is terrible.
So, yeah. So what the message is, I mean, this is horribly harming the entire civil rights movement. And I'm talking about discrimination against Hispanics, discrimination against African Americans.
John, do you have bells playing?
What's that?
I hear like bells playing. It's okay. It's the phone. I thought you had like bells on, like a necklace of bells. Anyhow, go ahead, please. No. I always listen. I'm always paying attention.
We'll see what we can do about that.
No, it's good.
I just hit it with a hammer, actually.
You did it. It's good.
It finally killed it. So, it's what's happening is the people who should be wary and always aware. We all should be aware of what our actions individually and as a group do to the social balance, to do the social contract, so to speak, among all of us, that we're going to treat everybody with respect, that we're going to treat everybody fairly.
You know what I was heartened, though, John? 78%, this is a Democrat poll, 78% of the American people surveyed just a day or two ago said that they do not agree with these criminal charges against President Trump. And over 80% said that he cannot get a fair trial. When you consider the amount of market saturation level intensity that the Democrat media has hammered President Trump with all of this with, I think that is so encouraging to me that the American people now have a way to get to the truth and do not buy the propaganda. I think that's very
it's really important. But still, the message that's being sent is, if you vote for an African-American government, African-American democratic government in a major city, they're going to step up and violate the Constitution. The people you elect are going to violate the Constitution for personal political gain.
Well, that's terrible.
That's what they're doing.
I know, it's terrible.
Well,
hey, look, anybody wants to take umbrage with that, Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, I mean, look, it's undeniable.
Yeah. I mean, it's there, and it's not true that African Americans would throw away the Constitution and burn Trump for in any number of cities. It's not true, but we have people.
But there are venues where it is true: Washington D.C., New York City, Fulton County, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, probably.
Sure,
there are places where what you said is true, but that's also true.
Sure. Absolutely.
Break time. We'll be right back. John Zarek continues. It's Smart Law with John Zarek at 17 minutes past the hour.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Biden is going to drive this country into the ground.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Enable our skill and tell your smart speaker, play WPG. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
We need to do what's best for this country.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thank you. Welcome back. Smart Law with John Zarek continues at 20 minutes past the hour. Counselor, time is yours.
Yes, Harry. So we need to not fall into the trap of saying, black people in general are out to get Trump.
Oh, no.
Or any or any conservative white leader.
He's made great strides with African Americans.
Yeah, so we have to resist that, because there are people that, you know, they'll hate black people.
Yeah, that would be a generalization that just isn't true.
That's right.
But in a limited sort of demographic, or whatever you want to call it, profile, I know that word has been changed, but I know how I mean it. It's true that they are out. I mean, look, we know what Letitia James ran a campaign that I am going to get Trump.
She happens to be black. But there are, you know, Caucasian people who are just as sleazy as Letitia James or
should a attorney general or a prosecutor that literally campaigns on targeting an individual and saying you're going to prosecute them, aren't they committing a crime?
They're not committing a crime. They're committing an ethical violation. They could be, in my opinion, they could be suspended for that, and should be suspended for that. And the ethical violation is that by them continuing but campaigning on the prosecution of someone before they know the evidence,
exactly,
just because they hate him, they're going to take him down no matter how. They're no longer impartial when they're prosecuting, so they create the appearance of impropriety. And you're not allowed to proceed that way.
Let me ask you, as my favorite criminal defense attorney, Alvin Bragg bringing these charges that the federal government already reviewed, the Department of Justice, the Federal Election Commission, even Alvin Bragg reviewed them and did not charge.
Sure.
The fact that, and we know why it's happening now, but I still want to just treat this like it's straight and not fixed. Not a setup. I can't imagine that they're going to get a conviction. I think Trump's best chance is a hung jury. If one person or a couple can somehow get on that jury and hold out, and it would be a hung jury. I don't see him being acquitted in New York City. The judge, I think, is crooked. He's a contributor to Joe Biden. He should be not permitted to be on the case. His daughter is just incredibly adverse to Trump and a Democrat, financial bundler and fundraiser and all of this. I can't imagine Trump being convicted very easily, but I know he will win on appeal. But the appeal happens after the game is already played. They get what they want. They get to run against him and say you can't have a convicted felon as president. I mean, this is just so wrong, John, at so many levels. You might remember, and I covered this very closely at the time, Governor Bob McDonnell in Virginia.
Yes.
Completely abused, similarly to what happened to Trump.
Sure.
Unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court decision. However, he was out as governor, Dunsville. So they get what they want even when you win in the end.
Yeah, the bad guys can win in the short term. That's just the way it is, and they can do a lot of harm in the short term. So that's why, it's very important. The most important thing in the country, and the Democratic administrations in large cities are extremely famous, highly famous, to the max famous for letting the schools of those cities languish.
Yeah.
In West Baltimore, big city, major city, not one student is at grade level, at least at grade level in math. Not one.
Amazing.
Not one.
Just
it's
tragic.
So these kids are getting mangled, and they're getting mangled because the unions, the teacher unions, and look, I support teachers unions. Mm-hmm. It's fine. People need to bargain to get together to get good things done, to be protected from arbitrary administrators and so forth. I support teachers unions. My wife was in the teachers union, but they can't. You can't protect people that are doing things wrong. You just can't do it. You can't allow that to continue. And what's going on is the teachers' unions. Well, one thing the teachers' unions did was way, way, way beyond, and this was in New Jersey, way beyond the time when it was established that being in school with kids was safe.
Right.
They used their muscle to stay out of school.
That was wrong.
Now, stay out of school, work a second job, take a vacation in Florida, whatever. I mean, some of those people were legitimately afraid, but a lot of them had their eye on Miami Beach.
Yeah, it was,
and a lot of them had
a political agenda.
Yeah, political agenda.
For some reason, the die was cast that Democrats were in favor of lockdowns and Republicans were in favor of being open.
Yeah.
It's just like everything. It's very tribal.
Yeah.
What do you say about this as a great criminal defense attorney, John? I'm not placating you. I mean those words. Bragg has reduced by 60-some% all felonies to misdemeanors. And look at the voracious appetite to criminally charge the President of the United States for some nonviolent nothing burger. It's so obvious what's going on here.
Yeah. I want to do good in my work. You know, I want to do what's right in my work. And, you know, I am a citizen like anyone else. I don't want to establish a policy. If someone comes to me and needs representation, they're going to get fair and vigorous representation. But I don't want to establish a societal policy that prevents people from being responsible for their behavior. You know, that's harmful. It's especially harmful to the population that engages in most of the criminal activity.
Yeah.
Because
John, what I think
it creates an underclass.
Yes.
Ongoing underclass. You're not doing them any favor.
No. What I think is very important at the present time is that the American people are able to process that what's being done to President Trump is inherently unfair. And I believe the practitioners of it are going to pay a heavy price, and the Democrat politicians that believe they're going to benefit from all this are going to pay a heavy price. Absent that, this would change our country forever, because this would be the way that it would be. You can destroy any one of your choosing by bringing up some process, fake crime, doing what this guy did. Do you agree with me that, and I'm not a lawyer, but you are, that if the misdemeanor statute expired, and the only reason this is even in a courtroom right now is because of this fantastical attaching it to a federal crime. Sure. Alvin Bragg,
which is absurd.
It is totally absurd. And Alvin Bragg does not have the authority to try that case, does he?
He doesn't.
And yet this Judge Merchan is allowing this farce.
Right. But who's stopping him? That's the thing. You need someone to enforce the law.
But unfortunately, the law in New York makes it that you have to let it play out. Then your right is to appeal it.
Well, it could be shut down with a good judge. You know,
there's no doubt about that. But we don't have that.
Yeah, Merchan could say, look, this is an unconstitutional prosecution. It's obviously vindictive. It's obviously targeted. There's a concept in the law. It's in the Constitution. There shall be no bills of attainder. So a bill of attainder is a law specifically targeted to take out one person.
That's what they did.
Yeah, specifically targeted to take out one
obvious.
person. Yeah.
Halftime break. We'll be right back. John Zarek continues on the station that plays the winners, WPG Talk Radio, 95.5.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
At 30 minutes past the hour, Harry Hurley with John Zarek. I have 3 stories that you can follow on our WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. Please read my story. I think it's well constructed and it's well deserved. Atlanta County Prosecutor Will Reynolds is going after the bad guys. Read all about it. Senator Palestina has written the state NAACP about Atlantic City. It's a 3-page, very wide-ranging, comprehensive letter. Check that out. And shame on the clergy and Kaleem Shabazz and others who rallied.
Jersey.
Good morning. With your South Jersey weather forecast, I'm Joe Kelly. Going to be a kind of cloudy day across South Jersey. High temperature today about 57. Overnight tonight, we still see clouds with a low of 44 and mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 55. As of right now, the outlook for the weekend looks clouds and showers Saturday. High temperature about 66. Clouds on Sunday with a high of 60. That's your South Jersey weather forecast. I'm Joe Kelly. Have a great day.
Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Honesty and transparency, not afraid to get down and dirty and really just tell me the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
35 minutes past the hour, we continue Smart Law with John Zara. Counselor, you were just saying?
I was just saying, Harry, I've been going to D.C. for a while now.
Making a difference.
I got, my friends are getting wounded and killed in Ukraine.
14 killed yesterday.
For no other reason than Russians want to terrorize the country, break the will of the country. Good luck with that with Ukrainians. I mean, they're not.
That's not even real world.
Like the old song says, we ain't going out like that.
Right? Understood.
Cypress Hill. By the way.
Copy that.
We ain't going out like that. So they're not going to break the will of the country. In fact, the more depraved the Russians are, the stronger the Ukrainians are. But there are people getting killed needlessly. The way it works is Ukrainians are when they have a function, a mechanical function, especially to something that takes calculation and hard work and patience, like shooting a howitzer. They are excellent at it. They're the best shots on the earth right now. I mean, they can hit a target dead on, 5 miles away. I mean, they're just really good. So typically they'd be dealing with, and I said these words to the defense advisor to the speaker a while back, and, he was really, really gracious and and a number of other congressmen, maybe 15 different congressmen I talked to, as well as, some of the senators.
By the way, fast sidebar. Mike Johnson is a prince of a guy. I think he's a beautiful man. I think he's done a great job. It's almost impossible with the margin of error that he has. And because in any organization of hundreds of people, there's always a couple of knuckleheads. And one knucklehead can cause so much problems because of the rules. He has been fearless, appropriate. I have so much respect for Mike Johnson because he's going to do the right thing here, even if it takes him out.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that. He is a good man.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I talked to his defense advisor. I talked for 20 minutes. He actually took me into the speaker's office. Come on in here and talk for
nice office, by the
20 minutes. And he wrote solid because they don't get to talk to people who have been on the ground.
Yeah.
It
was very valuable.
Who have been on the ground. They talk to ambassadors. They talk to military directors or whatever. So he was very encouraging about I said, look, what's happening now is people are getting killed needlessly just because they don't have mostly 155 rounds, right? That's what they shoot, and that's what the basic ammunition is. That's what they need.
How short-handed are they right now, John?
You mean in terms of ammunition?
Ammunition, weaponry.
Extremely short-handed. They don't have air defense. The Russians are bombing cities, and for the first time,
that's what they did yesterday
in mass, bombing frontline Ukrainian troops. Ooh. Up to now, they couldn't do that because Ukrainians had the air defense systems. Big ones and little ones for the soldiers at the front. But now they're just flying around dropping bombs. They don't have the stuff to shoot them down.
Are they losing ground because of these deficiencies, or are they holding on?
They're holding on in general, but they're backing up some, 100 yards, 200 yards.
Because they have to.
In strategic situations, they're being plenty smart. They don't get people killed needlessly.
Yeah.
So, they're backing up some, but in general, they're still terrorizing the Russians.
How are their numbers in terms of the size of their military?
They've got the people they need if they have the ammunition they need. But the way it works is, and as I told the congressman that I spoke to and a couple senators that I spoke to, the way it works is if they can engage the Russian tanks and vehicles and infantry at a distance, miles away, then they can do a great job. They can keep them back and really stunt any aggressiveness that they have. However, if they don't have 155 rounds, or in some cases HIMARS ammunition, because they're refillable, they're rockets that go into a set launcher. If they don't have that, then they've got to wait till the Russians are in shooting, on top of them in view, just about. And then more people. The Ukrainians are still winning, but a lot more people get killed. Instead of one person per unit getting killed, 5 per unit get killed. And as I said to them, look, there's going to be a resolution to this in time, but in the meantime, just put in a small, well, the numbers are not small, but small compared to the overall situation. And, they put in a small bill that got kind of snuck into the $1 trillion $200 million government bill for $300 million of artillery rounds and HIMARS ammunition. That was the start.
Do you like the approach that the Speaker has decided to do 4 separate spending measures, Israel, Ukraine, and doing it separately?
Yeah, it's fine. Because
I think that's a good idea, too.
You find out what the people want. If you have that, you find out what the people want. So what's going to happen now, Harry, finally, is and I actually talked to Senator Ben Cardin in person a couple times over the weekend, who said we were very, very close. Again, I don't agree with all his politics. Yeah. He's a Democrat, but he's a great guy.
Hey.
And
when someone's doing the right thing.
We're very close. Don't let up.
Yeah.
We can't let up. And so the result is that this Saturday, Speaker Johnson's going to hold a vote on Ukraine aid, and it's going to pass. And
probably going to need Democrat support, I understand, but it's going to pass.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
It's going.
He's willing to do that.
It's you can consider it a done deal.
Yeah, as you know, though, usually they'll only bring something to the floor that has the support of the majority party. Let's get our final break in, so we'll have a little more than 10 minutes with John when we come back. Kirk Conover will be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour straight ahead. Smart Law with John Zarek continues.
Hurley in the morning.
It's breaking news that I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
Cut the BS and let's just get to the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Welcome back. 11 minutes before the top of the hour. Smart Law with John Zarek continues. Counselor, you were saying.
Yes, Harry. So we're going to have a vote on the $65 billion bill.
And it's going to pass?
It's going to pass.
Sir, yes, sir.
I'll be there.
Copy
actually.
that.
I'll be there in the House chambers. They
call it the gallery.
The gallery.
You will be there. I'll be looking for you.
So I definitely, and I stuck out the vote on the $300 million, which was attached to the government funding bill, the $1 trillion government funding bill, and I didn't leave. The vote was 2:00 in the morning, and I didn't leave till 2:30, and it was very exciting. Every senator and I'm sure every congressman will be there for this vote.
John, on January 28th of 2020, you and I, other members of my family, we were in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
It was a Tuesday.
Yep.
And I'm bringing that up, John.
Front and center.
front and center. We were 25 feet away from the podium, maybe 20.
Yeah.
You and I. In fact, we're in the pictures. I've sent them to you before.
Yeah.
We're literally there, like 20 feet in front of the president. No one is in front of us. We're literally in the very, very front. It was a magical day. And on Saturday, May 11th, lightning in a bottle is going to strike again. President Trump will be in Wildwood. I believe it's going to be on the beach. I would prefer it to be in the convention center just in case it's like super windy or rainy or something. I love beach concerts, the concept of them and all, and beach type events. I wish it was in the Wildwoods Convention Center like we had it before. But this will be on the beach, I understand. But May 11th, Saturday, President Trump in Wildwood all over again. I feel the energy. I mean, you were there, John. We were together the whole morning, the whole day, all till late in the afternoon. The energy in that area where we were was incredible.
It was. It was
magical.
It was quite a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite a scene.
By the way, that was just before COVID-19. COVID-19 existed, but we didn't know it yet. That was right before COVID-19 popped. The crowd was enormous. More people couldn't get in than did. 175,000 people requested tickets. To this day, it's the biggest request for tickets in the history of Trump rallies. And I just remember saying to a lot of people all day long how you couldn't run in to trouble if you tried. Everybody was kind and happy and friendly. It was amazing.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Bob Turkavage, our friend, he was Republican congressional candidate, and then later he switched to the Democratic primary. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was. He was.
He's a good man.
He was in the FBI, and
he
didn't like Trump's criticism of the FBI in general. Not local people.
The shame of that, and I always felt that Bob miscalculated that. Trump's criticism was not of the rank and file great men and women. It was about their corrupt leadership.
Well, yeah, Bob had another view.
Yeah,
he and Sally, his wife, they're good friends of ours. And,
they're terrific.
You know, they're wonderful people.
Yeah,
but he was down.
They've both been in here many times.
Yeah, and he went down. He went down for the purpose of he was kind of an anti-Trump thing when he was there, and made it plain. But
he did so as such a gentleman.
Yeah,
because I ran into him too.
He was a gentleman.
Yeah,
and he remarked to me that how nice the Trump crowd was.
They were.
You know how orderly they were, how courteous they were to him.
Right.
Who was sort of an anti-Trump presence, but
now remember, John, if you went to a Biden event like that, but there are no events like that because he can't do them. Can you imagine how somebody opposite of Biden would be treated at that event?
Oh yeah,
it would be hideous.
Yeah, you'd get hit in the head with a chain.
It would be terrible. But that day, I loved it.
It was like the summer of love, you know.
Yeah, the energy, the positivity.
Yeah.
I remember saying this is the safest street in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's how I felt.
It was great. I want to talk a little bit about this bill coming up, the Ukraine bill, and how it got there. It's going to pass. That's going to happen on Saturday, and it's going to pass, no question about it. And the way this happened was long ago, maybe 6 months ago, maybe 9 months ago, there was really strong anti-Ukraine Republican positions, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Mike Pompeo said, and it wasn't really highly notarized, but it was there. He said, ultimately, Trump will do the right thing with regard to Ukraine, which means support Ukraine, which seemed totally impossible at the time based on the politics that was going on. So that was always there. And as I start saying a year and a half ago, if the Republicans let Ukraine go down the drain, if they keep up this anti-Ukraine funding thing, they're going to lose the presidency. They're going to lose the Congress. They're going to lose everything. They're going to lose the House.
By the way, I want to go on record. Every time you said that, and you said it a lot.
You thought I was crazy.
I didn't think you were crazy. I didn't agree with you.
Yeah, you thought I was wrong.
And I pretty much kept my powder dry. I didn't come out publicly and oppose you. But I know why you say that.
Yeah. So now you see, what did the poll just say? 70?
Yeah.
8%.
Yeah.
78% support Trump in this prosecution.
Yeah.
And I think the polls would be similar if you get an accurate poll. 78% of the people support having Ukraine win. Want Ukraine to win, want Russia to lose. So it's been growing and growing and growing as the Ukrainians are having more and more trouble for lack of arms, say over the last 6 months. People don't like it. They don't like it at all. I mean, I talk to conservative people, I talk to liberal people, I talk to radical people. They don't like it. It's not American. It's not what we do. And so
I like to hold people accountable to, if you're opposed to supporting Ukraine, then you cannot separate that from being in favor of Russia beating Ukraine.
Of course.
And how can that be a good thing? So it's always been so self-evident to me, John.
Yeah, so what's happened, what then happened and what happened more recently, people like me and lots of others are, have been telling members of Congress the truth and the Speaker the truth. Just here's what's going on the ground. And I think the Speaker knew ultimately this is the right thing to do. You just can't abandon the people of Ukraine, especially when you say we're going to support them. So what happened was, of course, Donald Trump was a big impediment to aid for Ukraine for a good while. And he had people following him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, who Lauren and I are going to the movie next week.
That'll be excellent video to check out.
It's supposed to be a really good time.
Yes. You're the best.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
You're the best. 2-minute drill.
So,
by the way, when Trump turns it around, they will turn around.
Yeah. So Mike Pompeo came to Trump and met with Trump recently, and he told him the deal.
Yeah.
Right after that meeting, Trump said, he said, well, if we give them money, we have to make it a loan, which is, who cares? They're not going to be able to pay.
Right.
So basically, you could see that
he was finessing.
Yeah, he said, if we give them the money, it'll have to be a loan, which means we're going to give them the money, which means he told Speaker Johnson, bring it up and pass the bill.
And remember, they had a meeting, and they both came out of the meeting saying we are in agreement with each other.
Because Donald Trump knows, and so does Speaker Johnson, and so do most Republicans now, know if we are known as opposing that bill and Ukraine loses, we'll lose the House, we'll lose the Senate, we'll lose the White House. So,
hey, John, I have to say this.
You're going to see it come together.
Final minute. When this hour started, I had confided in John that, as I'm recovering from this, my energy just wasn't, feeling great. I feel so much better than I did an hour ago with just spending this time with you.
I'm not going to charge you much for it, Harry.
Thank you for the
$1,000.
That's fair.
We're even.
Yeah, I think you're underselling your value. The elixir that you provided me. Smart Law with John Zarek every Thursday morning in the 8 o'clock hour, sponsored by the law offices of John Zarek.
Yeah,
20 seconds.
Great to be here, Harry.
Great to
be here, and finally. Ukraine's going to get the support. Now, Russia tried to break Ukraine in the last 4 or 5 months. Couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it.
Oh, man, are they going to lay the last of the Russians now? And we'll be happy. We'll watch. We'll have a ringside seat.
Think about their mojo when they get retooled, rearmed.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame. You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. 6 minutes past the hour. John is remaining. Very, very pleased to report on a special day and time. Kirk Conover is here. Kirk, we missed Tuesday, but we didn't miss Thursday. Hello, Kirk.
Good morning, Harry. I'm so glad you're back on the air.
Thank you,
Kirk.
Kirk.
Strong.
Thank you, sir. Yep. And I did wish you happy birthday on your birthday, but happy belated birthday, my friend.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It was a milestone birthday.
That's what I called it. You missed my monologue, I know, but that's what I called it. I know the numbers. It's hard to believe you are very young. What I want to do is put onto the table for you to respond and for John to respond the opening topic. And we're going to cover a lot of ground this hour plus that we have. And it is this. I was extremely, and this is not partisan with me. I hope people understand that. But when President Trump was unjustly impeached twice, the articles of impeachment get walked over by an equal branch of Congress to the Senate. They are received, and you are supposed to have a trial in the Senate. In fact, this is the first time in the history of the United States of America, whether it was Alcee Hastings being impeached, Bill Clinton, Andrew Johnson, Donald Trump, you name it. No one, and it's dozens and dozens of times, no one has ever been impeached and there not be a trial. But my take is this. Chuck Schumer calculates that the trial and the evidence that will come out of the trial, it's not going to result in Alejandro Mayorkas ever being convicted. There's no supermajority that would do that. So he would be impeached, but he would be acquitted in the trial in the Senate. Chuck Schumer decides that, no, we will not have a trial. The 51 Democrats and the 48 Democrats and 3 independents go along. They dismiss the impeachment articles. We don't get the trial. They don't have to then endure the American people seeing how the border has been left open and all these things that had taken place. And I think this is a terrible thing to do. It's precedent setting, and it's just flat out the wrong thing to do. But Democrats seem to not care about tradition, precedent, or doing this kind of thing. Kirk, your comment then, John.
I found it astounding that Schumer would take the position that what the House voted on was unconstitutional. Both counts, unconstitutional. And just throws it out there, and they vote that they're unconstitutional. I don't think it was. I can't believe that it's proper. That it can't be challenged. It just.
Well, here's the thing. John brought that up to me during the break. Hey, can't they challenge this? And here's the truth: they can't. There's nowhere to challenge this. It's not the type of thing. It's not law. These rules are extremely arcane. They weren't even allowed to go into executive session to discuss. They did all this right there in the open without any ability to discuss things even. There's nowhere to appeal it. They simply dismiss it, and they make it disappearing ink. They just make it go away.
Yeah, and it was obvious to me that Schumer had been cooking this plan up.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had plenty of time.
Well, he was hinting and he was throwing the trial balloons out that, hey, we might not even have a trial. It might not even happen. So he was, calculating. See, it's much like the Biden presidency. Biden will not be able to debate. They're going to blame Trump for Biden not being able to debate. Oh, Trump's a convicted felon. You cannot dignify the presidency. They'll take the butt whooping that comes from being a punk because actually doing it would be far worse. These are the calculations that these Democrats are making. John, your thoughts about what the so-called, because he's got 48 Democrats, the so-called House Senate Majority Leader.
Well, it's disgusting That's all you can say about it.
It is.
It's disgusting.
Well said.
It clearly is not the law. It clearly is not what's ever happened before. It's really tearing up the Constitution, because the Constitution says if there's an impeachment, there will be a trial in the Senate. Not if the majority party wants it, there will be a trial. So it's
terrible.
The Democrats, or this group of Democrats, is perfectly willing to rip up the Constitution.
Exactly.
And you can only do that so often. I mean,
and John, you know this? They had the votes. He was not going to be convicted. They won't allow the American people to see what they've done.
Yeah. They don't want a trial, even though the Constitution says you'll have a trial.
Right.
And so they're doing this and saying, go ahead, we dare you to correct
I'll tell you
us.
what I would like to see, because I like things to be settled, and this is unsettling. I believe Republicans will reference the Zarek Doctrine. As I say this, I believe Republicans will win the Senate, and when they win the Senate, they need to bring that back for the trial.
Sure.
They need to do that.
Sure.
And he's not going to be convicted, but it's unfinished business. Here's something that I bring up for the panel. This is almost a fact, what I'm about to say. If you tell me the price of a gallon of gasoline within the reasonable run-up to a presidential election, I can tell you who's going to win the election. Gasoline, and there's a lot of reasons, John, as you know, and Kirk knows, Ukraine, Russia, a lot of things that are going on. The fact that we were energy independent and a net oil exporter, and Biden changed everything, robbed half of the strategic petroleum reserves and can't afford to pay it back. A lot of problems energy-wise. Electric is going to be up 29% this summer. So if I told you that the price of a gallon of gasoline is nearing $4, and if you buy, as I do, super unleaded, it's $4.29.9. The regular gallon is beneath $4, but on its way. That doesn't bode well. I'll flip the order. John, your first comment. Just on the price of gasoline,
Sure.
what that means.
Well, here's a headline from the newspaper. Gas prices spiking in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware.
Yeah. Up 30 cents in 3 days.
Yeah, in 3 days. And not likely to go down anytime soon. And, so desperate that Biden would say a very, very stupid thing through Lloyd Austin, who, I'm sorry to say, I liked him in the beginning, especially when he was tough on the Russians. But he's impaired now.
Yeah, he's unwell.
I mean, he can't.
He's unwell.
He can't get out a full sentence. He's hemming and hawing, and much like Biden, but Austin doesn't have the background of Biden of doing this stuff forever, and he's now he was saying the ridiculous thing, and maybe he was choking on it because he knows it's so stupid. He was saying, telling the Ukrainians not to destroy, they're wiping out the Russian refinery capacity. They're just blowing stuff up left and right. They blew up an ammunition depot along with fuel and everything. It burned for 8 hours.
Wow.
It exploded for 8 hours, So he told them, don't bomb any more refineries because it's making the price of oil go up.
Yeah, they love that. Don't. That's all of them. These idiots. Don't.
Making the price of oil go up.
What do you say to Iran? Don't. Kirk, Wharton School graduate, we could talk about inverted yield curves. We could talk about market tendencies. We could talk about all kinds of complicated formulas and all of this and that and the other, and interest rates and, inflation and stagflation. We could keep going and going and going. Tell me what the price of a gallon of gasoline is, and I will tell you who wins and who loses. Your comment, Kirk.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, the basis of American prosperity historically has been the fact that we are the world's superpower when it comes to fossil fuels. And it's just a shame that the spiteful economic policies of Biden to just reverse everything Trump did just because Trump did it has made us import more oil than we need to.
How about we've made it better for Russia in terms of energy? I mean, he stopped our pipeline, our own president. He allowed theirs to continue. I could go on and on and on. It is reprehensible, indefensible, the position, the policy of this government.
Yeah, when you shut down all new drilling, when you close ANWR, when you shut down pipelines, there's nothing cheaper in the energy field than American energy for America. So now we have to import oil to make up for what he has shut down.
And they're so energy green, but they don't mind all this oil on tankers. They don't mind it on trains. I mean, it is so bad. Break time. We'll be right back. Much more with John Zarek, Kirk Conover, and yours truly, Early in the Morning. Also proud to tell you that this portion of our program brought to us by Batteries Plus. Now, if you know where Broadcast Center is, you know where Batteries Plus is, because we basically share. It's not the same common parking lot, but there's a connector. So if you pulled in here to Broadcast Center, you could walk right over to Batteries Plus. It's right next to Broadcast Center and also in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And they are one of our WPG industry aces. If you need a battery for, listen to this list, cars, trucks, marine items, RVs, campers, golf carts, ATVs, mobility scooters, or motorcycles, you name it, they've got them. It's an incredible supply of every battery that you can imagine. It's in the title, Batteries Plus. Ready for storm season, they've got it all. LED, emergency lighting, portable generators, surge protectors. Batteries Plus has them all. I use them for an iPhone where the battery just wasn't holding the charge. I always needed to have portable battery chargers and things like that. While I waited, they put the new battery in the phone. If you have a cracked screen, if you have one of the ports, if you tripped over the wire and you dislocated the port in your phone, they can fix all these things for you while you wait. You don't leave your equipment and they have it and then you come back another time. They'll do it right while you wait, and they've got expert people standing by. They do it all. They fix it all. 900 Tilton Road in Northfield, Route 73 in Mount Laurel. Stop into one of their locations, and you can enter to win a pair of tickets to see Journey and Def Leppard. Back with John and Kirk after this.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Established, reputable.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Makes me think about things a little bit differently.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 23 minutes past the hour. Kirk Conover, John Zarek. Yours truly, Hurley in the Morning. And we thank you for tuning in to the station that plays the winners, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. John, let me give you a topic. Kirk, you get the next topic. Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, you know, I talk about Ukraine. That's what I like. That's my thing now. So I think it's really, really important. As I said, what happened is I've been saying for a long time that the Republican support among the electorate, no matter what the numbers say, was very thin, very thin. You know, if you talk to Congressman Van Drew, who opposes aid to Ukraine, or anyone else who opposes aid, they'll tell you. But, you know, if I go to the Republican clubs and say, I oppose any aid to Ukraine, he gets nothing but standing ovations. Well, there's a reason for that, because all the Republicans listened to Tucker. Tucker was that way, and they weren't hearing anything else.
How much damage do you think he did in terms of the Ukraine cause?
He got a lot of people killed, and a lot of property destroyed.
He convinced a lot of people. He didn't convince me, and I like Tucker. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't like this. And then he winds up, you know, even the Putin interview I thought was weak, and he winds up looking like a Putin little, like...
bitch.
It's just terrible. Terrible. Just awful.
Female dog, actually.
I appreciate the clarification, Counselor. Kirk, I know you're a Tucker fan as well. At least I think you are. Why do you think that certain people took the adverse position that they did? Why did this seem to become sort of, if you want to prove your bona fides, that you're really a conservative, you have to be against that? That just seemed to be wrong to me.
It seemed wrong to me. I can't explain Tucker except that, he thought maybe, we were tiptoeing into World War III. That's a refrain on some of these conservative sites that are against Ukraine aid. But no, you can't let Russia run roughshod over invade countries whenever they want, wherever they want. I mean, it's the old domino theory. I mean, you allow Russia to succeed, who's next?
Well, Kirk, that's always been, when John first started educating me about things, I thought, all right, well, I trust John, so this is great. I said, but it just seems so self-evident to me that if Putin wins, his next stop is Poland. Poland is a NATO nation. We're all signed on, one for all for one. This means World War III. I mean, we don't have to overthink the house, John.
No.
That's the deal.
No. As people ask me, why are you doing this? And I say, primarily, I don't want my grandchildren fighting in Poland or Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. That's also the Russians have gamed out attacking the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. So they've already got the map. So and they have a tendency to go for it. They've done it many times in the past. They're trying to do it right now. So.
Kirk Conover, you get the next topic, and what I'm going to do this entire hour is I'm not going to present any topics. I'm going to alternate with John and with Kirk. Kirk, your topic.
Well, while you were out, we had the jobs report come out, and it's another sham report. They're saying it's over 300,000 new jobs, but again, they're double counting people getting second jobs because of the insidious damage inflation has done to the middle class.
And 1/3 of them were government jobs, Kirk.
Yep, 1/3 were government jobs. And the other thing was there were 0 manufacturing jobs created. So, and the manufacturing has to be the base of our economic strength, and it's just not there under Biden. Bidenomics is failing. He's talking about we're growing it from the bottom up and the middle out. No. Capital is allocated based on merit, return on investment, and this command and control that this Biden administration is trying to do to the economy is failing. It's failing the working families of America, the middle class. It's failing the retirees. It's devastating their retirement investments. And it's all because he overspent as soon as he came in. Those 3 bills, trillions of dollars, still sloshing around out there. There's about $2 trillion that has not been spent. And that means inflation continues. That means...
Well, and by the way, and this doesn't count as me breaking my word about topics, this is a follow-up to your topic, Kirk. The Federal Reserve Board chairman has now said that they're really not bound by any rate cut decreases happening at all this year. This is, and look at what the markets have been doing over the past 2 weeks. I mean, down thousands and thousands of points. Now we might not be in an environment where there may be any rate decreases.
Right. And these high interest rates distort a lot of things. They distort the allocation of capital. They distort the housing market, the automobile market. And historically, the prime rate is between 3 and 4%. And now the prime rate's like 5.5%. This is a wealth transfer that the American people do not deserve, and it's all for the spiteful economic policies of Biden. He had to do everything opposite of Trump. And let me tell you, the big danger coming up is that the Trump tax reform and tax cuts expire at the end of 2025. And if they're allowed to expire and we go back to the rates we had under Obama, huge tax increase on everybody in the whole country.
We're going to go to the halftime break. Another reason why November 5th is the most important election in our lifetime, because that would absolutely happen, and they would have to do nothing. They would just let it wither on the vine. It would sunset, and then that would be that. And then I'm telling you, and I don't need the Wharton School degree that Kirk has to prove this, that would mean the people that create the jobs, they would be closing companies because there's people that operate companies because they love the action, they love the vibrant, way of life and decision making and the excitement of building something. If you make it that it's not worth it, and you continue to regressively tax and do these things, they'll just shut the thing down. And of course, what happens then? People lose their jobs. So the party that lies and acts like they're for the little guy, they wind up costing you your job. I'll give you an example. The luxury boat tax. I remember when the New Jersey idiots on the Democrat side, hey, we're going to put this tax in on the luxury boats. Aha, look at this revenue we're going to generate. I came out and publicly said, well, I'm against that. And I said, not only is it not going to generate the revenue that they say, it's actually going to shut businesses down and cost people their jobs. And it's exactly what happened. People like John Kerry went other places when he bought the Scaramouche. He didn't buy it in Massachusetts. He went and bought it somewhere and then had it vesseled and brought to him. He bought it probably in Florida, I forget, but somewhere where you can do reasonable business and not have this type of confiscation level taxation. Much more. John gets the next topic when we come back. 32 minutes past the hour. John Zarek, Kirk Conover, yours truly, early in the morning.
People all over the Jersey Shore have found the easiest way to stay connected to South Jersey's talk station. It's the WPG Talk Radio app. Read free, unlimited South Jersey news. Listen to your favorite talk shows. Send us breaking news tips and more. The WPG Talk Radio app is powered by Smokers Haven. You'll find the finest selection of cigars at any of their 5 locations. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. SmokersHavenNJ.com. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
They really do separate fact from fiction.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. John Zarek, Kirk Conover, yours truly, Hurley in the morning on the job. Counselor, topic is yours.
Well, I want to talk about Kirk Conover. That's a good topic.
Because when Kirk Conover says it, Kirk Conover means it. There's an old jingle.
He does.
Kirk
he does.
Conover.
And I know Kirk remembers this because we talked about it before, but Kirk was my very first political contribution when he was running for, I believe, freeholder, maybe. Maybe councilman. I forget.
No. His first office was freeholder.
Freeholder.
Yeah.
And my first political contribution.
Kirk came in with Ronald Reagan, so I could tell you the year. That was 1980 that you made that contribution, John.
So I bet on the right horse. So if you want to go to the racetrack, watch a Kentucky Derby,
By the way,
you want to hang with me.
Undefeated for his entire career until, unfortunately, because it was never this way, Democrats and Republicans used to drive with each other to Trenton if they were, say, two assembly members, and one was a Democrat, one was a Republican. They would drive together. There was collegiality. There was decency. Kirk's only loss was when the Democrats went filthy dark side.
Yeah, sure.
He was undefeated his entire career.
But real smart guy. And I actually when I saw that he was a Wharton School guy,
yep,
that's all I needed to know. So And it turned out it was a good bet.
And don't hold Rutgers University against them either, John.
Yeah, right. But it's been a pleasure being friends with Kirk through the years. And
that was a nice topic.
Yeah, good guy.
Kirk, next topic is yours.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, John. You and I go way back.
Way back.
Yeah, I remember that first Galloway Township Republican meeting was at the old gun club behind, it was on Great Creek Road, behind the Pitney Tavern, and it had a dirt floor.
Yeah.
And I literally stood on like a wood box.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that, man. It was like... And we were campaigning.
You were in a debate with Stephen Douglas at that campaign, right, Kirk? You were on that big soapbox and like 3, 4, 5 hour speeches, that kind of thing.
Very colorful campaign we had. I remember commiserating with Ken Lefevre. He said, we're basically campaigning for Freeholder, and we're campaigning on state and federal issues that freeholders had nothing to do with.
Sure.
But that was quite a time. But it was like you said, Harry. It was a different time.
Oh my God!
We were
such a better time.
We were told, never mention your opponent's name because you're giving them free publicity.
You know what? I will tell you, and just in the 32 years that we've been on air, it has devolved. You never would ever call your opponent a liar. That was never done. You would never, ever bring up a family member. And there were lines that you didn't cross in the campaigns. John, I guess the zeal to win at all costs, to burn the house down, to rule the ashes. I mean, I could keep on, throwing out the jargon here. What happened that it has just disintegrated the way that it has?
Yeah, I think the main problem is that as society as the values of society become weaker and weaker, as people have less to depend on. Maybe in the old days, everyone was affiliated with some church or synagogue or whatever, so people had strong families. The families were generally intact. The kids were raised by parents that really looked after them, mom and dad. They respected their teachers in schools, those institutions. In Galloway, you had to wait. You had to wait a long time. Kirk knows this, to become a volunteer fireman. No pay, a lot of work. Out of bed 2:00 in the morning for any number of reasons.
But you had a waiting list.
You had a long waiting list because they were very, very strong, and
they stayed.
Each one had hunting clubs, and you just wanted to be part of something like that. So the institutions were strong, and people weren't as desperate about belonging to something else and being respected. But now. The institutions are disintegrated. People don't go to church. The families, rare that families stay together. The firehouses and other community institutions are begging for members all the time. So when people get a chance to be recognized, to be an elected official and be treated with respect and be a part of something, it becomes more than just an elected office. It becomes their ego. Without it, they feel like they disappear, and they become quite desperate. And desperate people do desperate things, and that's what I think is going on. I'd be glad to hear. I'd like to hear Kirk's idea on that, if he agrees with me. It's these people. I see people running for office, and they are out of their minds. They take anything as a slight. I remember one time I think I was campaigning for Brett Schundler in Cumberland County or something like that.
By the way, what a good man.
Not Cumberland. It was like Mill May or something like that. Yeah, great guy.
Oh, God.
And so I was his guy there, his stand-in. And there was a candidate running maybe countywide or something, and I had introduced someone local instead of the countywide candidate. And, you know, it was a woman, and she absolutely freaked out, absolutely went crazy on me because who do I think I am?
The protocol.
I'm trying to play, Harry, I was trying to play kingmaker.
Come on.
And
she didn't know the John Zarek that I know.
Right. I was trying to make, and we see a lot of that through the years, and it's gotten worse through the years. Yeah. I'd like to get Kirk's take on that, but people are desperate to get affirmation. And they need that affirmation because they really, in many cases, have nothing else going for them.
And this is going to be a great cliffhanger because we'll go to the final break. We have plenty of time when we come back. Kirk will be next. I have a follow-up on this topic for both John and Kirk as well, and we'll continue. John Zarek. Kirk Conover, yours truly, early in the morning on WPG Talk Radio, 95.5.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
We need to just listen to the facts.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
Today $20 barely gets you a burger and fries, and maybe it'll get you a quarter tank of gas. But you know what it'll get you, though? For just $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text and plenty of 5G data from my friends, my cell phone company, a veteran-owned company, Pure Talk. Make the switch today, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Now choose a wireless company that shares your values. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, make the switch today, pound 250, keyword save now from Pure Talk. Since 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been committed to supporting our nation's first responders and veterans. They support America's heroes like U.S. Army Major Jonathan Turnbull. Now, Major Turnbull sustained devastating injuries at the hands of an ISIS suicide bomber. Tunnel to Towers gave him a specially adapted smart home designed for his needs. Join Tunnel to Towers. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month so this great work continues. Their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
You're listening to Hurley in the morning.
We live in a society where everybody is offended.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
I'm not
South
offended.
Jersey's talk station.
Wow. It is. Thank God we get the extra 6 minutes because Chris Coleman is a programming genius. Kilmeade, about 15 minutes away. We're going to make every bit of this count with John and with Kirk. Kirk, cliffhanger. Time is yours.
Well, John's right. I mean, I see the coarsening of our society over my lifetime.
Yeah.
Our founding fathers, the geniuses they were, they knew. If you read their writings that went into the Constitution and the formation of this country, they knew that you need a moral people to be a free people. And that was very evident in the Federalist Papers and throughout. Our rights come from God, not from man. And this, it starts in the 60s. The 60s were such a damaging period of time. You had God taken out of the schools. You had the Women, Infants, Children Act passed that destroyed families because a man couldn't be in the household for the mother to get, financial support for the children. And then you had the radicals, basically communist sympathizers who realized they couldn't do a revolution, so they decided to go into education, to quote Bill Ayers. And that leads to left-wing indoctrination. And as John pointed out, fewer people go to church. They lose that moral underpinning that's required for a prosperous people and a fair society. And it just goes on. And as society coarsens, the politics coarsen.
So, Kirk, here's my follow-up. You go first, then John. We had the 1860s, obviously. No lengthy narrative required there, what was going on. You mentioned the 1960s. I mentioned the 1960s during the break with John. He would back me up on that, and I was going to bring that up, and you did. And now we have what's going on right now. So what I'm getting at is, see, there's no quit in me. I was raised by a World War II hero that was part of the generation that saved the world. I can't quit. I won't quit. I want to believe that there's not a permanency to this, that this is how it is now, but this does not have to be how it always will be. Do you agree with that doctrine, or is this so ingrained now that there's no turning back?
I think we can turn it around. People like the three of us, spreading the word and emphasizing the positive values that the country was based on. People are going to grab onto that. It's becoming self-evident that this push to socialism by the contemporary Democrat Party is destructive to the prosperity and freedom of most Americans. And you see it with the response to Trump from, he's gaining support from Hispanics and black people. And I think people are starting to wake up. Sometimes you have to really, hit bottom before you bounce off that bottom and start going back up again.
That whole narrative was just so good. John?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a crisis of some kind for things to change. I mean, things don't
like
change.
Like a September 11th?
Yeah.
I mean, that is the last time that we've been united as a country. September 11th, 2001, and for a short while thereafter. Because then the goal was, how can we divide America? Because unless we're divided, there's one side that doesn't believe they can win. We're never going to win with that philosophy at all.
I'm afraid that the thing that's going to happen is, because we have lots of people attacking the Constitution, is the deterioration of the Constitution.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If there are people that
reinterpreting it, right?
Yeah, increasingly they don't know what the Constitution is. They don't know the value of it. They don't know why it's important to have a Supreme Court that's stable and good.
John, there's also a philosophy where they're trying to win with this philosophy that it was just white men with powdered wigs and it's arcane. It doesn't fit. They're trying to scrap it.
Yeah, they are. And more and more the Constitution is being ignored in schools so that people don't understand. And if enough of them don't understand and they vote the way they're going now, which is the destruction of the Constitution, this thing with Schumer, there are a number of circumstances. Schumer not having a trial when there's an impeachment.
Yeah,
unheard of. It's destructive of the Constitution.
It is unheard of. It's unprecedented. In fact, it has happened 0 times in history.
Sure.
Until now.
And expansion of the Supreme Court.
They'll do it.
Responsible people expand. That's like Venezuela. If you expand the Supreme Court, the next people come in, they expand the Supreme Court.
I don't think anybody's going to disagree with this.
Forth.
John, you comment to this follow-up, and then Kirk. If the Democrats on November 5th, of course, January 20th, when the whole thing would change, if they win all 3, meaning Democrats, I have no doubt that early on they will move to expand the Supreme Court.
No doubt.
Court packing.
Yeah, they don't like the people there. So they don't respect the institution.
This 6-3 math is unacceptable. So they'll be like the Grim Reaper. They'll just add 5.
Yeah. And see, with them, Trump is so all Trump stands for is hard work. Basically, you don't get a break unless you work for it. You respect one another.
But they find him so objectionable.
Oh, yeah. Because of that. He's going to – we have the DEI – diversity, equity, and inclusion, which basically means equality of outcome.
Right.
In other words, Harry, there are not enough African-American announcers in Atlantic County, so we're going to arrange a system where you have to hire a number of people that aren't qualified to be announcers. Maybe you didn't go to – and that sort of stuff is destroying the country.
By the way, the Democrats in power will do, there's a thing called the Fairness Doctrine, which really I give them a lot of credit because it's hideous. The names they pick, whether it's Affordable Care Act, infrastructure when it was not infrastructure at all, it was social bailout stuff. Everything is a lie, is a con.
Yeah.
But the Fairness Doctrine is one of the most unfair things ever.
Yeah.
It actually, they did it before. When we were kids, I don't know if you remember those things where like WPIX would have a editorial and then another person would come on and do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Did you
it's like
know
1984.
Yes, it is 1984. They made you have the opposite.
Yeah.
And how they would decide what that means was always very, very convoluted.
The Ministry of Truth was where they made up lies.
Ministry of Truth. There you go. It's so good. Kirk, next topic is yours.
Well, I was just going to comment. John's so right about the Democrats wanting to destroy the Constitution because that's the road to socialism. Our Constitution is designed to have free individuals make their own decisions, have their own businesses, and voluntarily apply their trade and exchange it voluntarily with another individual. That's what our Constitution is all about. And I find that, I've been trying to get this in too, isn't it ironic that Schumer declares these two articles of impeachment unconstitutional?
Yeah, he declared.
He is being unconstitutional and violating the Constitution.
It is. You have to admit, there is dripping with delicious irony. And then, of course, they have 51 votes, 48 independents, or 48 Democrats and 3 independents. They get the 51 votes they need, and they dismiss the articles of impeachment. It's just...
Yeah, and it's all about power. It's all about this, the Democrat Party has been a command and control, top-down oriented organization since Woodrow Wilson. And they've tried to pack the court under FDR.
Yeah.
They've
with the power that he wielded, we are very fortunate that he failed at that. Because we could right now have, it could look like one of these movies or something with like 50 associate justices, because you just have to keep adding. So, for those listening, it doesn't have to be 9. And this is going to sound a bit odd because we think about things now differently. There was a point in time, and I know John knows this as an officer of the court, and I know that Kirk knows it. There was a time when the Supreme Court had an even number of justices, which is kind of weird when you think about it, because you don't want to have a tie, and if you have 9 or 7, you can't have a tie. But it used to be an even number, so it doesn't have to be 9. It could be 99, John.
Right. It's not a good idea to have an even number, like our grand jury system. There are 23 grand jurors.
Right.
And the reason it's 23...
So it's not 11 to 11.
You can't have a tie.
Right.
Actually, you don't need 23 in all cases. You could have 15.
Right.
And if at least 12, which would be the majority, if you had 23 vote to indict, then you have an indictment. But, yeah, they're really... They're increasingly shameless as history goes on, as time goes on. The Democratic Party.
Yesterday, I think will go down. A lot of people, because it's tough right now paying bills and energy and food and everything, people are really stressed. I just saw a thing a friend of mine was covering nationally on how much stress has increased for Americans. It's documented. So not a lot of people are going to lose sleep tonight over the fact that Chuck Schumer, and this is what they bank on, that people don't care. They're not going to, I can't sleep tonight because they dismissed the articles of impeachment. They get away with this kind of crap. But the problem with this is it's such a slippery slope, John.
Yeah. I'm going to make a commitment to, I've spoken a lot in schools on a lot of different topics, mostly law enforcement topics. I'm going to make a commitment to speak in schools about the Constitution the importance of it. Because
not enough of that.
Otherwise, I don't think the kids hear it.
I think you're right. We used to. I can tell you when I was in school, Bill Gussie and people like that, we learned all about the Constitution. But
sure,
that I don't think anybody on this panel. Well, I won't say it. I'll let you speak for yourself. I was going to say I don't think you'll disagree, but why do I need to say that? You can speak for yourself. Education, by design, has changed the curriculum so that things that we were taught are no longer taught, and it's on purpose.
Sure. Because, they're white men. They're old, slave-owning white men. Why should we listen to them?
Do you remember when Trump,
when
the Democrats wanted to take down all the Confederate statues? And anybody that's listening, it's not about celebrating the Confederacy. It's about our history. So I was not for that because I'm not for the redaction of history. President Trump said at the time, it's only a matter of time before they cancel George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson. And the media went apoplectic, bananas with how absurd and crazy that was. Well, it happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Closing comments, John, you get a minute. Kirk will get the final minute.
Actually, I'll pass right now and let Kirk go first.
That was very generous.
I know he's got something he wants to get out.
Kirk,
I could tell.
Closing comments.
Well, you talk about the election and what's going to turn the election. Food and energy.
Yeah.
That's the basis of our prosperity in this country.
Yeah.
And that is going to turn the election because those two forces are what's crunching the middle class and the working families of this nation. And it's all by design. The Democrats have designed this whole thing. They unleashed the inflation that's killing us and therefore the high interest rates. So they've totally distorted the economy. But,
Kirk, let me squeeze this in for a quick retort from you. The music's playing. I think people are sick of hearing that inflation, even though it has ticked back up, so it's like 3.7%. I think they're sick of hearing that number when they know they're paying 25, 30% and more because they're not factoring in the inflation that already hit and is not changing. So I think people are sick of hearing false things like that.
Yeah, because inflation is cumulative.
Exactly.
The rate of increase is lower, but it's still increasing.
Right. You have to lower the costs before it will actually come down. This is just a lesser amount of inflation. It's not 9, it's 3 point whatever, but cumulatively it's now over 25, 30. Kirk, great hour. John, great hour.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.
Kirk, always a pleasure to be on your show. See ya.
Always a pleasure for me to